Don't let its meager exterior fool you. This building is home to the most expensive commercial real estate in the entire United States. The building is known as One Wilshire Blvd, as you can see by the name printed on the top. Architecturally, it's a pretty nondescript 1960s office building designed by the firm SOM. While that firm does have some pretty amazing buildings to their credit, I think that most people would agree this isn't one of them. But in 2013, this building sold for $437 million.
Why?
That's $660 per square foot of leasable space. That's by far the highest price paid of any office building in downtown LA. That's a lot of money. Today it's about $855 per square foot, or $9,000 per square meter. But why would this, of all buildings, be so desirable?
You'd probably guess that it must be due to its fantastic location. While you'd be right, it's probably not for the reason that you think. It does have spectacular views, but no better than its neighbors. Most of these neighbors are also newer and feature more traditional amenities. What its location offers, and what this building takes unparalleled advantage of, is incredible access to the internet. While the internet moves at the speed of light, for processes where even fractions of a millisecond count, physical location on the globe still matters. And for that, One Wilshire is positioned perfectly. The building is what is known as a carrier hotel, an urban structure that hosts the servers and equipment that power the internet. Carrier hotels are critical infrastructure for modern communication and commerce. They're also known as co-location facilities because they house networking and telecommunications equipment for multiple companies. These facilities provide a secure, reliable, and efficient environment for businesses to house their IT infrastructure and connect with other networks.
So this building houses the world's largest telecom companies and the connections to each other's networks. Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, international carriers including China Telecom, China Unicom, all have offices and IT equipment in this building. Also, other businesses that rely on critical connections to the web like Amazon, Google, and Netflix all call this building home. In total, it has 250 network service providers. So the building is important because it houses nodes on all of these networks. But what is it about this location that makes it so significant for this work?
Well, carrier hotels are often located in dense urban environments where multiple corporations are located and need connections, and downtown LA certainly fits the bill. One Wilshire is ideally suited to serve the region's entertainment, media, gaming, and high-tech firms, along with traditional areas such as healthcare, finance, and higher education. But this building is also located just inland of where much of the Asia's internet traffic arrives through undersea cables to serve the North American continent. So connecting directly to this important exchange allows One Wilshire to maintain as seamless a connection as possible to both Asia and the rest of the United States. Further, the building's height means that it has unbroken lines of sight to other buildings in the area for microwave and other antennae to connect
piece of commercial real
across
estate because it
airwaves.
powers the internet.
It's like a beacon or a lighthouse
on the
with
West Coast.
invisible information streaming in and out of it.
It is likely the most connected building in the world. It has thousands and thousands of little orange cables
She's doing the
running
puzzle,
into the
she's
building
getting it.
and stopping on one of its 30 floors. The orange color also graces the sidewalk outside. That's because LA color codes its various infrastructure networks underground. Red for power, blue for water, orange for networking, and so on. And the fact that this quality of the building above all else is what it can offer shows a lot about what we value, the role of the city in contemporary life, and how the built environment serves to support and enable our lives.
This marks a significant difference between the way that we traditionally think of the city and the way that it actually works today. In the past, visible geographic features were often the organizers of cities. Access to a river, for instance, meant routes for transportation, power for manufacturing, maybe even sources for food. But today, the important infrastructure that powers the engine of the city is often invisible. The theorist Kazis Vernellis argues that One Wilshire is a major piece of global economic engine. It's part of a telecommunications economy that recently supplanted aerospace as one of the region's leading global industries and helped to support the rise of Hollywood's entertainment economy. The entire system converges in a single-use, vertical hub centered at One Wilshire, a bland high-rise distinguished only by the extra-large cooling units on its roof and the proliferation of orange markings on its surrounding paving. I've often thought about the movie The Matrix was in part a critical cautionary tale of this condition. No longer is important infrastructure marked with monumental constructions. Instead, they're buried underground and hidden from sight. The Matrix tells the tale of what happens if we are banished forever to this realm.
The Wachowskis aren't the only ones using their creative medium to reconcile this extreme disconnection between
She
our
got
digital
one,
worlds and our
she has to
physical
keep
ones.
moving them.
When
and
we're
there's other
sort of like
barriers.
inside of these kinds of impersonal office spaces, aren't we as good as machines at that point? You know, I think.
I also spoke with Jimenez Lai, who was commissioned by the Downtown Center Business Improvement District to communicate the complicated role of the building in time and space.
As a part of that study, we wrote a story about One Wilshire. And this story was represented in the form of not exactly a comic book, but something like a set of storyboards. One Wilshire is a building inside of the skyline of downtown Los Angeles, which is inside of this window, which is inside of this room. This room is inside of a model, which is inside of a photo shoot. This photo shoot is inside of a file, which is inside of a computer, which is inside of an office space, which is inside of a file.
You're right, I don't
that
get
is
it.
part of a network of files that is inside of a server, which is inside of a network of servers that is inside of One Wilshire.
AUDC, Kazis Fernellis' practice, installed a model of One Wilshire on a desert bluff in the 2006 High Desert Test Sites show. Relocating One Wilshire to the Mojave Desert underscores the unstable reconfiguration of space that network culture produces. One Wilshire could be anywhere, in downtown LA, in the desert, in your bedroom, or in the Marianas Trench. Space is something entirely different to us today.
In this sense, One Wilshire is an unlikely monument. It looks like the most generic office building in the world, maybe one that Neo in The Matrix would have worked at as Thomas Anderson, not as Neo.
But the building obviously isn't just a monument, it's a working piece of infrastructure. It is the densest access to dark and lit fiber in all the southwestern United States. In order to maintain unbroken access and to support such a burdensome electrical load, the building has been renovated to offer high-grade, stable utility power from the LA Department of Water and Power. It has 5 separate utility power risers, 11 on-site diesel-powered generators, and enough fuel storage for 24 hours of continuous operation. And of course, there's 24/7, 365 days a year manned security and card control access. On the 4th floor is an area called a Meet Me Room, and this is the largest one in the country. A Meet Me Room, or an MMR, also known as a Network Access Point, is a physical space within a data center or carrier hotel where different telecommunication carriers, ISPs, content providers, and other network service providers come together to interconnect their networks and exchange traffic. It is a neutral location where carriers can exchange traffic with each other and with other network service providers without the need for costly and time-consuming direct connections. Meet Me Rooms are particularly important for content providers such as streaming video companies and social media platforms, which need to ensure that their content is delivered quickly and reliably to end users.
Of course, the building didn't start this way in the 1960s, and it took a pretty interesting road to get here.
It was designed in the mid-1960s as a speculative office building by the firm Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. The building expresses its frame and offers the type of open office environment that was popular at the time. A regular column grid with a core and as few other impediments as possible. Furniture does the rest of the work, but this generic architectural space for activities led to some strange conditions over time as our work life took on a life of its own.
I feel that the disadvantages are outweighed by the advantages, but I feel that you've got to be a certain type of person to work in a place like this, and it doesn't suit everybody.
We go Bureau Landschaft, where the scattering of desks, supposedly creates territories, and humans are doing this, right? And then we get like stuff like Action Office, where we...
Bro, this guy, the guy is interesting. The guy that he's interviewing is like I got it. It's a building that powers the internet, and it serves, it services the entire internet. But the other dude is just like so kooky. Are you enjoying this, Murat? You're my North Star when it comes to STEM Lord A-worded content that people are enjoying. Yeah, he said they're trying to make it a little too artsy. I love that he said he's so pretentious. He's an architect, dog. That's how it works. Architects famously have a god complex.